Welcome to Knockhill Racing Circuit. In today's programme we are looking at the Scottish Sports and Saloons, and a little bit later on we're going to have a look at the Classics. But first up is the powerful machinery, and it's Paul Bryden on pole position. I'm going to hand this one to Richard and he'll take us through all the action.
Thanks, Joe. It is indeed Paul Bryden on pole position, the BMW M3 alongside Robert Drummond in the Ford Escort Cosworth. Andrew Morrison is third, Gary Waite fourth from Thompson McIntyre, then William Robson and Ian Sinclair. Charlie Fraser is back, and also Scott Tolland, former championship leader, lining up in ninth. So, ready for round 9 of this year's championship, well into the second half of the season. Lighting sequence is complete. Lights out here, very slow start from Robert Drummond. Paul Bryden makes the most of it. Andrew Morrison is slow as well, but here comes Robert Drummond up through the gears using the four-wheel drive to good effect and takes the lead down into Duffus. Paul Bryden in second place. Thompson McIntyre is up into third. Gary Waite's challenging for that though as they go down into Scotsman for the first time. Side by side, Waite goes through into third position. Andrew Morrison back in fifth. Then it's William Robson. Thompson McIntyre had a very good start indeed. McIntyre running in Class B1. The A-Class cars, of course, the machines on slick tyres. The B-Class cars running on treads. Four-wheel drive classes are the one class, so B1 is treaded tyre with four-wheel drive, B2 is treaded tyre with two-wheel drive, and same for the A classes. A1 four-wheel drive on slick tyres, and A2 being the slick tyres two-wheel drive. And we're in car with one of those at the moment, Andrew Morrison, who's looking to try and get fourth position away from the Subaru Impreza of Thompson McIntyre. McIntyre second in the B1 class standings, 8th overall. The four men immediately ahead of him in the championship aren't here this weekend. Ian Donaldson, Colin Simpson, Graham Robertson and Brian Meldrum. And that's really, I've got to say, a facet of this championship. Drivers tend to pick and choose their meetings on the whole. You always get a varied field and a pretty decent field, and a very eclectic mix of machinery today, it's got to be said, and some impressive cars out there. Some drivers do tend to take the odd meeting off, so we see guys coming in and out. But Thompson McIntyre's here, looking to climb up from 8th in the championship standings. Andrew Morrison, as you can see, is ahead now of Thompson, and Thompson has got William Robson behind him in the Ford Focus RS. William Robson second in the overall standings, has been very good this year and leads the Class B1 standings. Third in the championship is Scott Tolland. He's on 125 points and he leads Class A1. Been very consistent too, has Scott, with 3 class wins over the course of the season so far, just the one retirement for him. Now with the 4 drivers that were ahead of Thompson McIntyre in the championship missing, we're actually going to get a brand new first time race winner for this year, an outright race winner, because all the other outright winners, Ian Donaldson and Phil Dryborough and Roddy Patterson, are not racing. So we're going to get a first win for somebody here, outright win in 2016. Gary Waite though, great to see him in a podium position at the moment. The back end flicks out and he's dicing for that third place with Andrew Morrison. Look at the different characteristics. Morrison's car a lot smoother out of the hairpin, not as fast on this stage but quicker on retardation going down into Duffus Dip. But Gary Waite flies back past him. Gary Waite back into third place. This is for second in Class A2 as well. Great flame out there. Really good choice of shot by our director to see that. And here we come, a little bit of smoke coming out of Waite's car, but as I say, wonderful to see him up in a podium position at the moment. And Andrew Morrison wondering what he can do to try and close in. Meanwhile, overall battle for the lead, four-wheel drive versus two-wheel drive, and the BMW of Paul Bryden chasing hard, but you can see Robert Drummond sprints away as they go along Railway Straight in towards the hairpin. Still this battle for third, and look at Waite throwing the car, I mean literally throwing the car into the hairpin, and it could almost be the drifting championship. But they go up the hill, that's spectacular stuff, and that's why a lot of the spectators stand down at the tri-oval section in the Livingston Auto Park stand to watch that. Gary this time has lost the place. Andrew Morrison goes through, second position in Class A2, third position on the road. I tell you what, Gary Waite's losing quite a lot of time here and he's slowing up visibly. So Gary Waite, is that going to be a pit job? We'll have to wait and see. So Andrew Morrison, second in class, third position on track as the race leaders come through. Robert Drummond still there. Here comes Morrison, spectacular as ever, and a very, very, very long wait now before we see Gary Waite coming through. No, it's not even Gary Waite. Thompson McIntyre, followed by William Robson, and Gary Waite. Oh no, there's more of that smoke, and that sadly is going to be curtains for Gary Waite in the 59 car. He's only had 2 finishes so far this year, and that's a big shame. As if it's terminal meeting wise, it means that the points for Class A2 will dip down to 18 points for the win. Gary knows it's game over. Shuts up, and Paul Bryden's out. The BMW was challenging for the lead, and that's the championship leader out of the race. Well, who would have credited that? Bryden has not had a retirement all season. I hesitated to say that. He's had a class win in round 4, took another one in rounds 7 and 8, and it looked like a class win here, but that has now gone, and it means that Andrew Morrison, in his first outing this season, is more than likely going to take the class win, assuming he finishes, because we've got 2 Class A2 cars out of the race. Very heavily waved yellows because Gary's car, it cannot be moved. It is stuck. So that is possibly going to be, well, there's confirmation. I was about to say it's going to be a safety car. So Gary's car needs to be moved to safety. It's going to close the field up, and it means that Robert Drummond's lead over Andrew Morrison is going to be cut back. Thompson McIntyre is on for a podium. He's in 3rd place and leading Class B1. So we'll take some points away from William Robson. So the safety car comes around Taylor's, the hairpin, and it's the Ford Escort Cosworth ahead of the Seat Leon Eurocup car. And here we go, ready for the start again. And the yellows are withdrawn, the green flags are shown, and we're underway once again. Round 9 of the Scottish Saloon and Sports Car Championship, headed by Robert Drummond. Andrew Morrison in 2nd, Thompson McIntyre is 3rd and leading Class B1. We've got 2 Class B2 cars, and they're headed at the moment by Charlie Fraser in the Westfield Mega Buso. And you can see already how these cars get spaced out fairly quickly. Here's the view from Charlie Fraser in the yellow Westfield, and Charlie is passed by Scott Tollan in the Ford Escort Cosworth, coming up into Clark Corner. Charlie Fraser had 2 class wins when we saw him back in April, 12th and 10th overall, but 2 class wins. And here is the race leader, Robert Drummond, then not looking overly happy actually. Got a little bit of rubbing going on there with the 29 car. We're going to see him make it to the checkered flag. Andrew Morrison not that far away. Fastest lap of the race is with Robert Drummond, a 55.079. There's some seriously quick machinery in this championship. Andrew Morrison's best lap time of 55.3, and that was set back on lap 13 of the race. And as you can see, Morrison is closing up big time now, but I don't think it's going to be near enough to catch Robert Drummond, who's going to take a first overall win. It's only going to be his 2nd finish of the season for Robert Drummond, but he's got the car running, and I guess the more complicated these cars, the more temperamental they can be, but he's got it to the checkered flag, and he's a win for Robert Drummond. Andrew Morrison comes home in 2nd. As you can see, a gap back 20 seconds or so before we see Thompson McIntyre in the distance, who will take 3rd place, but the Class B1 win ahead of William Robson. So McIntyre picking up top points for the class win, and we'll have a look at confirmation of the result. Robert Drummond then the winner. Andrew Morrison wins Class A2, Thompson McIntyre winning B1 ahead of William Robson. Then it was Charlie Fraser in B2, Scott Tollan in A1 completing the finishes, and fastest lap going to Robert Drummond.
Robert, well done, a great result. A car that's quick, but also more importantly in this class can make it to the end.
Aye, well that's the main thing now. We've changed a lot of things in the car, and it's taken a long time to get here. But aye, it's an old Ford, and it's never usually got reliability, but we're getting there. So
it sounds great as well. Sounds really quick.
It is quick, but it's just the handling. I need to get on top of that, So and confidence in the car as well. So aye, I'm really chuffed.
Well done. Andrew, well done, a great result. I know that this car can win overall if we get some rain this afternoon.
Well, that's right, that would be a big help, Joe, certainly, but I don't know, by the looks of it, I don't know if it'll happen. But anyway, I'm delighted, the first time out of Knockhill with the car, and still getting used to it a wee bit, but no, quite happy with second.
Yeah, it's an updated bit of machinery. You had to see it before, but this is obviously a new bit of kit. Obviously a quicker lap time?
Yeah, well, it should be. It's a Mark III version of our previous car, so it's about the same power, slightly better handling, slightly better brakes. So I think once I get the hang of it, we should be seeing hopefully better lap times.
Well done.
Thank you.
And third place on this occasion, a great result still. Car that's quick and making it to the finish.
Well, you've got to finish. You've got to get mixed up a wee bit, but to go on the podium, you've got to finish, and I finished. So it's a genuine third place this time. So that was good for me, and I won my class as well. So
some close racing as well throughout.
Aye, well, I can ease that. The safety car done a wee bit for a while. I let him catch back up. So we had a wee exciting dice for a wee while, but I think he broke his car trying to keep up with me. So I hope he finished. It makes it a bit more exciting. So it was good, but enjoyable.
Well done.
Thank you.
Next up we have the Scottish Sports Saloons out on track for their final race of the day, and it's race 1 winner Robert Drummond back on pole position with the beautiful Seat of Andrew Morrison alongside him on the grid. I'm going to hand this one to Richard for the final time today.
Thanks, Joe. Good to see the shades out. Always a good sign at Knockhill. So it's Drummond from Morrison, Thompson, McIntyre and William Robson row 2. Charlie Fraser and Scott Tollard on row 3, followed by Ian Sinclair and Paul Bryden. Gary Waite is due for row 5, but sadly Gary's problems in race 1 terminal meeting wise, so he's not there. It does leave us with 8 cars to contest round 10 of the championship, and the lighting sequence is underway. Lights out for round 10 of the championship. What a start from Thompson McIntyre, who's come from row 2 between the two front row runners and has got the lead going down into Duffus, but Robert Drummond is trying to take it to him. Paul Bryden's come through from the back of the grid and is up into 4th, and now powers his way around the outside of Andrew Morrison to take 3rd. Great stuff by Bryden. Incredible, the man that led the championship coming here this weekend. Had a non-finish in race number 1, found himself at the back of the grid and he's already up to 3rd. William Robson having a look at the inside line there of Charlie Fraser in the yellow Westfield. It's good to see the red Westfield of Ian Sinclair back out. Sinclair was actually the 3rd retiree in the first race. We didn't get to see him retire. We saw the other 2 guys retire, of course, from that one. That was Gary Waite and Paul Bryden. But aside from Gary Waite, both the other retirees back out and on circuit. But it's Robert Drummond, the race leader, and now Paul Bryden up into 2nd. Thompson McIntyre, what a start from him though. He led a Class B1 car. He's on the treaded tyre and got a good point score in race number 1. The class win gave him 18 points, which takes him up to 118 points. Goes past Ian Donaldson in the championship, so that means now that Thompson McIntyre is 4th in the overall championship. Look at the battle on for the lead though. Paul Bryden taking the battle to Robert Drummond. Up into 3rd place now goes Andrew Morrison in the Seat. Andrew still, as we heard, learning that car. Great piece of kit. There are so many spectacular cars, and the variety that you get and that you're seeing on this programme, not only in the Scottish Saloon and Sports Cars Championship but the Scottish Classics Championship, very well worth coming to see our meetings here at Knockhill Circuit. And a reminder that our next meeting in September has the Super Touring cars as well, so if you've never paid a visit to Knockhill Circuit before, come and see the classic Super Touring cars who will be in action on a 2-day meeting. And you can check out the Knockhill website or the Scottish Motor Racing Club website to find out more about that. But please do come and visit and support this wonderful circuit and wonderful club. Here's the battle for the lead though. So Robert Drummond still out front in the Ford Escort Cosworth. Paul Bryden second. Andrew Morrison will start to try and close in on them. Thompson McIntyre still there in fourth place. Now I mentioned that McIntyre moves up to fourth in the standings. The new championship leader is William Robson. He got 14 points for second place in class in race number 1, and he moves on to 176 points by virtue of Paul Bryden's retirement. And you know, Paul Bryden could well claw his way back in terms of the championship, but that non-finish could be very costly at the end of the year. So William Robson in the focus is the championship leader. We've got two cars coming into pit lane together at the same time. That was scary. Are they both okay through the smoke? Yes, they are. Charlie Fraser and Scott Tolan, and Fraser looked like something went pop on his car, and Scott Tolan was pit bound anyway. That's difficult. That's a difficult thing to see. And well, both drivers are obviously okay, which is the most important thing, as the race leaders will go up and go past them into the green flag zone. We've got heavily waved yellows on the entrance to the pit lane, where Scott Tolan's car remains parked. Scott Tolan was third in the championship, but he's not going to pick up any points now in this meeting. Robert Drummond running well, still the telltale smoke from that car, and Paul Bryden is really taking the battle to him. So remember, four-wheel drive car being chased by much modified two-wheel drive BMW. Bryden's going to have to work exceedingly hard to get past. Third position is still Andrew Morrison. So through Hislops or Railway Straight, call it what you will. Are we going to get deployment of the safety car to deal with Scott Tolan's car? It's not in an ideal position, being on the entrance to the pit lane. Still got the wave green flags. You can see where the car is parked up left of shot, and green flags still being waved after the completion of the danger zone, as it were. The circuit effectively gets zoned in the event of any problem on circuit, so there'll be waved yellows at the point of danger, and thereafter you'll see a green flag when it's okay to race again. And obviously the car's not allowed to overtake in a yellow flag zone, but the battle for the lead continues. It does limit the options of Paul Bryden at the moment in terms of being able to make a pass for the lead. Robert Drummond, though, still the race leader. Fastest lap for him in race number 1. And it looks like he is doing the same thing again. That car seems to get faster and faster over the course of the race. The fastest lap in race 1 was lap 15, the last lap of the race. And Paul Bryden losing a little bit of ground now. Andrew Morrison still trying to close in. So here comes Drummond down the hill again. He's going to be chuffed if he can get a double this weekend. That's going to be a terrific result for him. So our attention's really now turned to the fight for Class A2. And can Andrew Morrison close down? Can the SEAT close down on the BMW? Only the two starters in Class. Bryden's caught up with the Ford Escort once again. So this really is a toing and throwing race for the lead. And are we going to end up with a three-way scrap for lead position? Two classes represented at the sharp end of things, and Robert Drummond still there at the moment. Paul Bryden again drops away. So is that him dropping away, or is it Robert Drummond pulling away? We'll see whether Andrew Morrison can close the gap as well in the 54 car. Out of the hairpin again and up the hill. Thompson McIntyre, fourth in the championship, second in Class B1, and the chaser, the man chasing him, is William Robson, who is the new championship leader. And that's the great thing about this championship. Any of the classes can produce an overall champion, or indeed at this stage of the season an overall championship leader. But there is the man who leads the championship, Charlie Fraser. Charlie Fraser's car parked up in pit lane. So two non-finishers so far in this one, two retirees, Scott Tolan and Charlie Fraser. Here is the Ford Focus RS of William Robson, 2.5 litres. Class B1 car. We've seen John Kennedy in B1, Brian Meldrum racing in B1 as well, so it's not just been about him and Thompson McIntyre all year, but Robson here, second position in class. Not that far away, you can see from Thompson McIntyre at the moment. There goes McIntyre out of shot. Championship leader William Robson is chasing him as well. I reckon that they will all finish on the lead lap as well, which is a good achievement for these lads. Coming down into the hairpin once again, a little bit of detritus on the hairpin. Meanwhile, as you can see, a change for second position. So Paul Bryden down to third. Andrew Morrison, this is going to be great news for William Robson, who we were looking at earlier on, because it means that William Robson is running second in his class, and Paul Bryden is now running second in his class as well in the BMW. So by my maths, that means that William Robson will retain the championship lead as we head into the next round of the championship. But we've still got a little way to go as the race leader goes up the hill and onto the last lap. Robert Drummond is still the race leader from Andrew Morrison now in second position. Morrison will make it a double as well. It's going to be a double for Robert Drummond overall. A double class win for Andrew Morrison in second position. You can see he's catching up with the race leader. To be fair, I'm not sure he's catching at a rate of knots that he'll be able to maybe take the win. Although, having said that, Morrison was very quick through the chicane and closes up at Clark and looks down on the inside line but can't quite go through. That was very definitely a challenge for the lead, and it's Robert Drummond running out of steam. He powers out of Clark and starts to build that big lead again as they go through his laps and down in towards the hairpin for the last time. Paul Bryden still in third place, and the checkered flag will be readied now on the pit wall for whoever can get there first. I think it's going to be Robert Drummond who recovers and takes the checker. 2 out of 2 for him, 2 out of 2 class-wise for Andrew Morrison. Paul Bryden finishes second in class and will maintain second place in the championship standings. So here's how they finish. Robert Drummond from Andrew Morrison and Paul Bryden. Thompson McIntyre winning Class B1 once again from William Robson. Ian Sinclair completing the finishers in 6th place.
Robert, what a day. You've had a fantastic victory in the first one that seemed to shock yourself, and a dominant performance in the next one.
I did. It shocked myself as well, but especially no power steering, hit packed in after about 2 or 3 laps, and my arms are hanging off now. So
I'm guessing you enjoyed it anyway.
Oh, I loved it. It was great. But I thought Andrew was going to get me at the end there, but he's got it on brakes and the corners. I've just got the power. So but good wee race with Andrew. Brilliant. Enjoyed it.
2 wins, well done.
Aye, thank you.
Andrew, well done. We've just been admiring the Seat, just a beautiful bit of kit, and you're really getting used to it now, and it got quite close at the end there for a win.
I think it did, but I think maybe Robert had a wee bit in reserve there. When we seemed to go into straights, that's when he was pulling away a bit. In the twisty sections, I could hold on in the braking and the cornering. So, this is the first season with the car, so hopefully we can improve and next year be even quicker.
Well, that's exactly it. You were saying that you can just keep pushing and pushing. Do you think there's still a big chunk there that you're just slowly working away at?
I think there probably is, Joe, to be honest. There's a wee bit of holding back at the moment, but we'll get there. We'll get there next season as well.
Let's see an overall win before this season's done.
That would be good.
Well done. Well, that brings today's action from the Scottish Sports and Saloons and the Classics to a close, but again, they've provided us with plenty of close racing. Make sure you tune in next time for more action.